Venezuela has the most in oil reserves of any nation on the planet. Well, you pair that with another nation with a lot of oil in total disarray, Iran, which is now bracing for the return of U.S. sanctions on oil in 90 days. While the first round of sanctions go into effect tonight, November 5th is when the U.S. expects all countries to cut oil imports from Iran to zero. No more purchasing Iranian oil. What does this mean for oil prices globally? We bring in a Fox Business exclusive, Liberty Oilfield Services Chairman and CEO Chris Wright. Chris, before I get your opinion on this, Tom Closa was on the morning show this morning here on Fox Business, and he's with Oil Price Information Services. He said, and I want you to listen to this, the next 90 to 100 days, he can't gauge. They're totally unpredictable. Listen.
And on the one hand, you can have really, really tough implementation of sanctions, and you could see Iranian production drop from, let's say, 2.2 on the export side to 1.5 million or less. And on the other hand, you might have political awareness raising the prospect of sales of crude from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. So you can make a case for 90, you can make a case for 50.
That's a broad swath there. Do you have any idea where oil prices are going once these new sort of snapback sanctions are kicked in?
No, I don't know the future, but yeah, I would say the outlook's reasonably positive. It is just never boring in oil and gas markets, and a lot of moving parts right now.
Okay, well, we are seeing some reaction, even though these things don't kick in until November 5th. And there is extreme pressure by the Trump administration on countries that import Iranian oil. Now, among those, China, Korea, they buy a lot. Turkey buys a lot of Iranian oil. India buys Iranian oil. And now you have the European Union saying, at least for this first tranche of snapback sanctions, don't tell us what to do. We didn't get rid of the Iranian nuclear deals, so we're going to continue at least doing some type of business. Do you think that the penalties will at some point push these countries to stop importing? Japan's already kind of there. They're listening to the U.S.
Oh, yeah. No, it's already had an impact. The European nations, you know, the threat of the sanctions is a U.S. financial system. You can't do international business without the U.S. financial system. Total, the French company that works on developing a natural gas field in Iran, has already suspended operations on that. So the sanctions are going to have an impact. I think no doubt about that. Okay,
China's looking at U.S. liquefied natural gas. It's obviously cleaner. That is a dirty nation. They have people wearing, face masks. There's so much pollution there in the air, particularly in the big city centers like Beijing and Shanghai. So can you give us a sense of how China may behave? Will they start buying more LNG from the United States, because we have a lot of reserves, versus actual crude from Iran?
Yeah, China has ramped up quick as an LNG importer. They bought hardly any LNG 2 years ago. They're the second biggest importer in the world right now after Japan, and they likely pass Japan in the next 12 months. So they are a major importer of natural gas and second or third biggest buyer of U.S. LNG exports. But that may change soon.
All right. Well, again, we have some trade tensions with China, but tell us how it would affect U.S. companies that deal in oil, whether it's your company. I know you just came in with earnings, looking really good at record earnings, but other companies such as the big integrated oils as well.
Yeah, so U.S. oil and natural gas production are both surging, and that extra oil and natural gas has to go elsewhere, and it's all going to export. So China's been a big importer of our oil, a growing importer of our LNG. With 10 or 25% tariffs on it, that'll no longer be the case. Our oil and natural gas will have to go elsewhere, and they'll import from somewhere else. So no doubt that'll be disruptive, but it'll move barrels from here to there. But it undermines confidence. It undermines investment. It's a negative for sure for the industry and the world economy.
I would think. And yet, you've got to take a stand at a certain point. That's probably what President Trump would say. How does the oil patch feel about that?
Yeah, well, I think you said it right, Liz. It is very unclear how this plays out. It's very possible, and I think the intention is just tough negotiating. He's a businessman. These are tough tactics. And at the end of the day, we'll have freer trade with the European Union and with China. That'd be a tremendous outcome. But absolutely, there's fear and uncertainty right now that if tariffs really go on and they hang in for a while, it will cause damage to our industry and the world economy.
Yeah, and I just don't see, though, in the end, how having any kind of economic dealings or financial dealings with a country that says it wants to destroy the United States or wipe Israel, a democracy, off the face of the earth. How you could even do business with them. So we'll be watching all of this and more. Chris, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks so much, Liz. It won't be boring.
Oh, no, never, never. May you live in interesting times. Thanks so much.